So, in short, if you go to the manager and say, how do you take it? You've got to look at the weaknesses, you've got to look at the problems are, you've got to see, right, okay, let's not let this slide. We're in a brilliant position just now. We've got in a great position. There's great strength and depth in the squad, but if we're not playing at our best, there's a reason for it. And let's just face up to it. And I just think Thomas Tuchel's that kind of guy, and I think he'll do it.
Absolutely right. Let's get our knee-jerk reaction for this afternoon then, which is what happened there, because it does feels like that game, doesn't it? It was a crazy game of football, and like you've already mentioned, Abby, unfortunately we aren't neutrals, because otherwise I think we'd have all massively enjoyed it. It was a great game.
Absolutely, yeah, scorcher.
But there are so many moments within that game, and like Pat's already said, I think you have to take stock a little bit and go, football does happen like that occasionally. You do come away from games on the wrong end of a result, which perhaps you feel. I mean, the stats will support the fact that Chelsea had more of the ball, had more shots, had more attempts on target, etc. But West Ham are, fully deserving of something from the game, 1 or 3 points. They've come away with 3, but like Pat said, they've matched us up defensively, very well organised, very well structured, and they've taken points off big hitters this season. They're 4th in the league for a reason, so we weren't expecting an easy game, and we didn't get that. No,
exactly. They definitely matched us up. The fact that they beat Liverpool at home, they're not, they're a brilliant team. They were 4th in the table for a reason, and they were so hard to break down. They're so well drilled by Moyes, aren't they? It was just like everyone knew exactly where they needed to be. That back line, we just couldn't get across them. There was no space really, and it just made it really hard to create chances. So yeah, it does feel a bit frustrating, but they put up a good fight today.
You put on top of that, you put the fact that they had players that either A, missing, but B, got injured as well. And Big Kerr went off for them as well. So you've got to nod your head sometimes and say, yeah, you've done okay there. We've been in a great run in these derby games, haven't we? Amazing run. And they're just different. They are different. I've played enough of them. And that's one of the problems every London team's got. We've got more derbies than anyone else has got. And they eventually, a team that normally wouldn't be up for it, every West Ham fan in that stadium too was desperate to beat Chelsea. Whereas if it was somebody else, it would be they come along with a bit of hope. So, that was working against us slightly today. But it's not an excuse. You've got to deal with it, you've got to go over it. But I'm kind of looking at West Ham and saying, well, you done okay today. You spotted our weaknesses, you spotted where we are strong, and you've done a good job. So, Moyes as well. Just thank goodness Moyes isn't a Man United manager. they made a good team. Or they tried that one.
But you're absolutely right. And part of being a Chelsea fan is being magnanimous in defeat and being classy about it. And congratulations to West Ham. It was a good result for them. Let's have a little look at the game on social this afternoon. Obviously, a lot of reaction coming in already. What a goal by Thiago Silva. It did start with a great header from Thiago. It's only right we eulogise. Great word again about CR7's brilliance at 36. But take a bow, Thiago Silva at 37 years old, #legend, very, very true. Thiago Silva has surpassed Didier Drogba to become the oldest player to score a Premier League goal for Chelsea. Two absolute legends, 37 years and 73 days. And that won't be his last this season as well, so we'll prepare for another one of those. His performance again in the first half, we said it at half-time, phenomenal in terms of the goal and the saving tackle beforehand. But that was, I suppose, it wasn't one of Thiago's best performances on the ball. Yeah. But again, we look at that and we have to look at it from a Chelsea perspective. But realistically, you're looking at a team that are well organised and perhaps force those mistakes out of team. So again, credit has to go to West Ham on that aspect.
Well, exactly, they were pressing, weren't they, and matching up player to player. So sometimes those mistakes do happen. And it's so rare that you see it from Thiago Silva, isn't it? He's a world-class player that's normally absolutely flawless, and it was still a fantastic performance. Like that last-minute clearance was just, was brilliant.
One of the things I would say about it, when you watch back to Sarri days, teams figured out stop Jorginho. Lots of teams thought, no, put a man on Jorginho, right? Then we moved on and we changed and we adapted, and then people stopped doing that against us because you think, well, stop him. Well, you've got Kanté, so you've blown it. You've just lost it, or good cover. And there's a wee bit of that they really did a job on Jorginho again today. They closed him down. They didn't give him any space. When he got the ball, he tried to look forward, and there was nothing. He had to go side. He struggled a wee bit today to put himself on the team. And I'm just at this point in time, I'm desperate to get Kanté and Jorginho, or Kovac and Jorginho, or Jorginho and Kanté back together. And I think we have the two of them three. I was hoping for one of them three before the game, but against good teams, any two of them three in the centre. And then we've got other players, even though Ruben might have to move a bit further forward as one of the two behind the striker or whatever. We'll figure out the rest of it. But those three guys, we need two of them in there. And because you can close out Jorginho, but you can't close out Kanté. So I think there's a bit of that about us, that we will be at our best against the best teams when we have all them. By the way, everyone says it happens, and that's football. If I was doing a tweet just now, it would be "it happens." I'd probably leave two letters at the front of that. But it does. It happens. It's just football, and we're not too down about it. But we need to now bounce back. It's imperative we start bouncing back now and go on a run. The good thing is, we know Tuchel can take these lads in a run, don't we? That's the point. Yeah. We are comfortable he can do that.
Absolutely right. Obviously, we couldn't have seen today's result coming or the performance coming, or maybe we could have, because someone before the Mason Mount goal, Mason Mount is literally carrying the game today. It's genuinely satisfying watching him with the ball. He's scoring today. I'm calling it. Check the time on that. 12:47. Good work. Wow. 17 minutes into the game, and then obviously Mason Mount scores a worldie.
They've got a crystal ball.
I mean, Sam, if you are watching, could you let us know how Wednesday night goes?
Yeah, we're hoping it's a good result.
And also tomorrow afternoon as well, if you could let us know how the FA Cup final goes. Like Pat said, in Thomas Tuchel you trust. You have absolutely no doubt about that. We've got games coming thick and fast. The reactiveness of football means that we can't really lick our wounds. We've got to get on with it, because we've got another game in 3 or 4 days, and then we're back at it. And there's plenty of points to be dropped from other teams around. West Ham will take points off people. Manchester City and Liverpool have both stumbled and stuttered in games that you don't expect them to.
Gives them a wee lift, though, doesn't it? That's the annoying thing, because this is an early kick-off, and then United are playing tomorrow, and Man City and Liverpool go, yeah, they're licking their lips. It's amazing how often that doesn't then work.
Yeah.
Because they either slip up or have a bad day or whatever, and we can just sit back and wait for that to happen. But it's a long old season. It's just a long time. We've had a good start. It's not going to... I suspect the leadership of this league table will change 4 or 5 times between now and the end of the season. It'll be that tight. It'll be that close.
Well, I mean, you don't win silverware in December. Mason Mount probably has 1 goal of the season today, though, so that doesn't really work. I mean, here's some more reaction about our overreaction tweet of the day. Mason Mount might be the second greatest footballer of all time, just behind Frank Lampard. Abby, discuss.
I mean, on his good day, I don't know if that is an overreaction. No, it was amazing to see him. It feels like he's kind of back to his best. We say back to his best, I think, because his levels are so high, aren't they? But yeah, he was everywhere today, just doing Mason Mount things, which is always great to see. In the week, become the first player under Thomas Tuchel to score double figures as well, to hit 10 goals. And again, this is a player that's missed a good amount of football with his teeth and etc. and other little knocks and injuries. Like you said, though, he set such a high level, such a high bar. It's almost scary that we think he can still go on and improve, because he's almost a finished player already at ripe age of 22. Yeah, was it 19 in the Ballon d'Or rankings? I mean, where are we going to be like in years to come? He's got the makings of, a fantastic midfielder. Could be one of the all-time greats. Well, that text there brings Frank Lampard into the conversation. And of course, it's a similar sort of position to Frank. And it's so brutally unfair to compare anyone with Frank and what he's done with this club. However, it's the one thing you need to add, and have a look at what he's done in these last 2 games. You were the one that pointed it out to me first. 2 goals, 2 assists in 2 games. If you look at it and start thinking, right, that's the standard I have to stay to, and showing what he showed in the second half, always the man that looked like he was going to get into the areas. He was the most desperate to go and either get the final touch or get to the byline. He's shown energy levels that I don't know if anyone else has kind of kept up. Obviously, apart from N'Golo Kanté, that goes without saying, but they are incredible, and that's why he is an extraordinary player just now, because he's got the technical stuff that you want. Yes, he's got the skills. He's now beginning to show the eye for a goal that you kind of really hope, because that was the one bit that he had to iron out. But the other side, the willingness to keep on going at that level all the time is spectacular. So, yeah, Mason today, I think he might have sneaked it from Thiago Silva for our best player. Definitely close, wasn't it? Let's clear up the rest of the game then on social. And this one comes in from Himant. Edouard Mendy and Chelsea defence concedes 2 goals in a single game. Impossible. Does feel like that a little bit, doesn't it? Does feel like that a little bit. It doesn't feel
doesn't feel like a regular occurrence. Certainly isn't. David James, wow, what a game! I think it's the third time, or so somewhere, third time on a Thomas Tuchel conceded 3 in a game, which in 50+ games is a staggering statistic. Shows just how much of an anomaly today is. It's from Marley, East London versus West London derby. And the fans are loving it. It's going off. It's a great game to start the weekend, isn't it? Unfortunately, we're on the wrong end of it, but worst goal ever from Todd.
Total fluke.
Is it? Yeah. It's one of those you hit it and hope that. I mean, it's a cross, isn't it, Abby? It's an unbelievably fortunate deflection off Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
But you celebrate like you meant it, and everyone goes, "Ooh, what a goal!"
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Within the game, lots of people say never own up to it when it's a mistake, or if you chipped it across and it just beats the keeper. But there's some you can tell and some you're not sure of.
Yeah.
No chance in a million that Masuaku made. I really like him as a player, by the way. I think he's a very good player. But the worst bit about it is, right behind your head just now, we've got a picture of him. The ball actually starts moving towards the inside, and actually Mendy sees it and he starts coming back, and then it spins away. And it's the madness of the spin that's taken from the deflection that's caused it. Honestly, you will go to see 10,000 games, you won't see a goal like that again. It is an utter fluke, nothing more than that.
That's exactly it. Like we keep coming back to the rhetoric of football happens sometimes, and it does. If you look at it on paper, you have a penalty that we concede, which is rarely happens. A kind of a mix up at the back like that. I can't feel the second goal from Jarrod Bowen's a great goal. It's a really good goal.
Great finish.
Really good finish from a very good player. Comes from the legs of Christensen though, so millimetre either side. It clips off his knee and goes out for a corner. And then obviously the third goal is a cross that spins and deflects into the back of the net. So if you have to have some sort of objectiveness games at this stage, because it's very easy to have a look at it on paper and go, we've conceded 3, we've lost the game, bad.
Yeah.
But it's not. Football does happen, and you have to be big enough to kind of take it on the chin sometimes.
Absolutely, and in a game like today, it's such fine margins, and like you say, if almost Christensen's a little bit further over, maybe that the Bowen goal doesn't go in. If that ball doesn't spin quite that way, Mendy could save it, and we wouldn't. It happens. It's football. We need to focus on the next game now. There's a lot of games coming up. Forget about today. Move on to the next one, and get back to winning ways.
There's the line I would like to talk about. Romelu comes on for the second half,
Absolutely right.
and he's not massively involved in the game, and it's actually interesting to watch because there've been so many games this season where that ball has spun across the line and we've put it between the goalkeeper and the centre backs, and you're thinking, Romelu, you're going to lap this up. There wasn't one of them when he came on. There wasn't a single one. And if you're him, you're thinking, oh, why was I not playing in those games when all those chances were flying across from Chilwell and then from Reece and and from Aspe as well and Alonso as well. And that was a bit infuriating for him today that he really couldn't get that involved in the game. I would just hope that the next game that he does get a chance in, like a few chances are laid on a plate for him, because of all the players in the team, nobody's a more natural goal scorer, and he needs to get off the mark again after his injury.
And like we spoke about at half-time, it's about building up minutes, isn't it? It's important to do that, not to rush players back. Christian Pulisic getting more minutes on the pitch today as well. Callum Hudson-Odoi finished the game at left wing-back as well, which is another option that Thomas Tuchel has got going forward. So there are certain positives and things that I'm sure the manager will take out of today.
Yeah, exactly. It was good to see Callum in that position. Good to see Rom on the pitch. Not that he was maybe involved as much as we wanted to, but I'm sure we're going to start seeing him, back to his very best. Pulisic, always great to see him on the pitch. Always makes an impact. Good to see those people getting some minutes. Just still gutted it's not a win,
Completely agree. And it's quite a lot of reaction as well about the depth of Chelsea's squad at the moment. This one from Onto Joe, 54. Chelsea made 4 changes to their starting 11 today, bringing their total to 54 in the Premier League this season. Only Manchester United in the 2001-2002 have ever made more at this stage of the Premier League campaign. 65 in the first 15 games. 65 in 15 games,
wow.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Do you know the old phrase, you don't know your best team? The difference between that and, look, you're in all the competitions. You need to rest players. You need to give people minutes. You have to make sure that everyone is available for you, unless injured, all the time. So if you make those changes and you're sitting for a round about the top of the league, that's absolutely fine. If you're making that amount of changes and you're mid-table or lower table, you've got a problem. You've got a massive problem. You don't know your best team, or you're desperate to get a good team together. It's not like that with Thomas. Thomas generally knows what he wants and knows what he's doing and getting the best out of players. So it's one of those statistics that's interesting. I don't know if it means anything though.
It's one of those as well, Pat. I wonder, from a player's perspective, if you look at that, and obviously Players want to play football. It doesn't matter anything else behind it. The bottom line is players want to play football. However, if you know that the manager is going to rotate and you're in this many competitions, is there a little bit of you, if you're not getting the minutes you want, you go, I know the manager's changing. It's not the same 11 every week. We're not running them into the ground. I know I'm going to get my opportunity. So it allows you to be a little bit more patient.
Can do, but I still can't remember 850 games in my career. Can never remember thinking, don't fancy that one. Yeah, I can never remember thinking, and no point, right? So I know the game's changed and all that, but I think when you get right down to, again, we were talking about Aspie before the game, do you think he's ever said to the manager, don't fancy it this week? Yeah, it just doesn't happen, right? So you always want to play, you always want to get out there, but there is an understanding that sometimes it's the best thing for you to take that little bit of rest. One of the things it does now and again, you know, if you've been asked to do a bit too much and you are A, tired, but B, carrying one or two injuries and you know it's slowing you down, and the fans don't know, and the people are writing about it don't know, and the people are commenting on it don't know, that's tough. That's really tough. And you're thinking, if you knew the pain I was paying through here, you wouldn't say that. I'm doing this for the team. Fortunately, we don't need to do that. And that's the one upside of what you're asking me about just now. That if you're going through that, and if you've got a bit of pain that's slowing you down or is affecting you, you don't need to do that anymore. You can just say, look, Gaffer, give me 2 weeks, or give me a week, or give me a game, and I'll be back. And that's where we happily are with this squad just now. So don't say it's a downer that you're not playing. Just take the most positive light you can possibly can. Having said that, I just don't know if I could have. I just don't know. I just want to play.
I'm sure there's a few defenders that knew they were lining up against Pat Nevin and went, I think I've got a bit of a tight hamstring this week, Gaffer, actually. Yeah, not quite sure about that. Anyway, plenty of opportunities for Chelsea to react. Loads of football coming up on the fifth stand over the next couple of days. Tuesday afternoon, of course, our press conference, including live training ahead of Zenit St Petersburg versus Chelsea. Match day 6 of the UEFA Champions League this season, live from 5 p.m. on Matchday Live for that one. And of course, you can still get your tickets for Wednesday, the 8th of December, so this coming Wednesday, kick off at 8 o'clock at Kings Meadow. Chelsea hosting Juventus in the Women's UEFA Champions League. Really good. I mean, it's well worth going down. If you haven't been to a game at Kings Meadow yet, unbelievable. Let's have a quick chat about that, Navi, because obviously a big game tomorrow afternoon. Chelsea winning the FA Cup final against Arsenal.
Big one.
It's a big one. It is a big one. It's also, like we spoke out already, still a little bit of needle from the start of the season. A bit disappointing not to get that result unfairly, unjustly, but an FA Cup final from last season's FA Cup, of course, this is. Yeah,
a big rivalry between two of the best teams in the WSL, probably the best kind of players and squads as well in the league. So yeah, it's going to be such a good game tomorrow. I'm expecting quite a few goals, and it's at Wembley. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere. Obviously, if people can't go, make sure they watch all the highlights and everything here on the fifth stand. Absolutely,
it's going to be an exciting game, Pat. And again, you know, this is the winning culture that Emma Hayes has put into the squad and the Chelsea Football Club as a whole. You know, Club of the Year. I'm going to throw that one in again. UEFA Club of the Year, but it's that winning culture, isn't it? It breeds it. Champions League finalist last year, WSL win, Conti Cup win. This FA Cup goes on to last season's tally, but it'd be nice to finish it in style.
Yeah, going back a wee bit to that Champions League defeat, you know, Chelsea expected much better. I've actually looked back at that recently, and actually, the fluky goals in that first half, and the game was finished within minutes, right? So it was just one of those ones where it was really strange. One of the goals in that game was more ridiculous than Masarakas today, right? It was that much of a fluke, right? So, but it's kind of been a cloud there. You want as many of those beautiful shiny baubles to take those clouds away, don't you? The darkness away. And this would be another brilliant one to put up for Emma. And I think Emma's adapted the team since then. We often play a 3-4-3, just like the men's team. But the quality players that we've got and the adaptability is fantastic. I'm a big fan of Erin Cuthbert. Obviously, I would be. But she's really come into a game this season. She's been... But some of the other players that don't always... We talk about Sam Kerr, and you will talk about Sam Kerr all day long. But Pernille Harder has been astonishing with back to this season. Unbelievable what she's added to it as well. So all the way through the team, the group, the squad, they're very good. But so are Arsenal. So it's going to be a cracker.
And we talk about that winning culture and that you know, and we mentioned it in the pre-match show. We were at the annual lunch yesterday, and it does feel like a proper family feel. And you know, I don't want today to obviously the result's disappointing, but the gloss of the football club is fantastic. And tomorrow, regardless of the result, it's that family feel. We can all come together, and I'm very much looking forward to watching it. To be fair,
yeah, I'm so looking forward to watching it, and the fact that you know all of the Chelsea family are going to be behind the team as well, cheering them on, and yeah, hopefully they'll get that all-important win. I mean, the form that they're in, you'd like to think so. And as Pat touched on, I think a lot of people focus on, you know, Sam Kerr and Fran Kirby just because they are such an amazing partnership and they're creating so many goals. But there's so many stand-up players this year. You know, Erin Cuthbert has really worked her way into the starting 11. She wasn't always in there. Jessie Fleming also having an amazing season as well.
Again recently as well.
Yeah, so it's, you know, we're just very lucky at this football club. Yes, it was a loss today, but there's still so many things to look forward to and so many competitions for both the men and the women's side.
We're just Chelsea, aren't we? That's what we do. We're just Chelsea, aren't we? Time to hear from the man in charge. Thomas Tuchel is pitchside.
Thomas, commiserations. Always disappointing to lose a game, but to do so to such a lucky and late goal must particularly hurt.
Yeah, the thing that annoys me the most that is a 2-2 at this point, and a goal like this. Okay, it happens once in 100 matches, and this should be then the equalizer, but should not be the winner. And it's only the winner because we did big mistakes again. We gave goals away again, and totally our fault. We gave some big chances away with big mistakes. And we do this since the Man United game, and we never did before. So we have to refocus and stop gifting goals, because nobody gifts goals to us. We have to work hard for our chances and then have chances. And of course, the headline in this match.
What do you put those mistakes down to? Is it tiredness mentally and physically, or is that too
Yes,
much
it
of an
is,
excuse?
but there's no need to do these mistakes. The other teams are also tired, and yes, it is, and we all are, and this will not stop, because the schedule is the schedule, and we cannot say now, oh, like we were tired and that's why we did these mistakes, because that means we do these mistakes in the next 8 games, and this is simply not possible.
Because of the injury situation being what it is, we saw more changes today. How difficult is it for a team to fall straight into a rhythm when you have to change?
Yeah, it's hard, because again we do 2 changes out of 3 because of injury with Marcos and Kai. Then we chose Romelu. Also, I think that he's not fit for 45 minutes, but we chose him for height, for the defensive set pieces, to not concede from set piece and to match the height of our opponent. But yeah, but it's not an excuse. We were in charge here. We were good enough. The team was good enough. We were confident and before the match, and I was confident that we can catch all 3 points, which was possible. We had enough touches in the box. We created enough chances, half chances. But there's a huge but. We did too many big mistakes.
What can you tell us about the injuries to Marcos and Kai? Kai's look particularly nasty.
Nothing yet. Kai struggles from the tackle, has huge pain, and Marcos has back pain.
Good thing about football is there's always another game to come. Wednesday we switch our focus to the Champions League. It's an opportunity for us to get back to winning ways, I suppose.
Always, but first we have to digest the loss. It's always tough to lose and necessary to recover, so need a day off now before we focus on Zenit.
Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
He's always brilliantly honest, isn't he? He's always fantastically honest. He talks there about Romelu Lukaku not being fit enough for 45 minutes at the moment. It's like we spoke about, you know, you don't want to be in a position where you have to risk players and you have to put them in a position where perhaps they're not ready for. But I suppose that the only way you're going to get fit is playing match minutes, and we've got enough matches for him to get to that level over the next couple of weeks.
It was too much for Romelu today. He didn't really get involved in the game. However, he wasn't given opportunities. As we said before, we didn't put that ball across the box, and what he's very good at. I'll be honest with you, that's the angriest I've seen Thomas in his time here. That's the most serious, the most upset, you know. And just as he walked away there, did you see? You know, Matt had finished the last question and he'd gone. He's not like that. He's incredibly polite. He's upset. He's very, very upset with this. He doesn't accept that level of mistakes, and he's fuming about those mistakes. And we have shot ourselves in the foot. And it's lovely to have him on here, and you think, do we sweep that one under the carpet? Well, you asked us that before, and we said, no, you don't. You look where the problems are. He's looking. Trust me, he's looking, and that's a good thing. That's a really good thing, because it's easy to have those standards and just let them just drop a wee bit. You can't do that in Premier League. It only needs to drop 2%, 5% maximum, and you're in trouble. Because, do you know what? There's not many bad teams in this league. There really isn't. I go to games all the time. If you're not up, the classic one was Watford against Man United. They're not up for it. They get battered. That's the way it is in this league these days. So Thomas knows that, and he's going to get that across. In fact, I suspect he already has.
Yeah, I'm sure he's had a word.
Yeah. Just finally, Abby, you mentioned mistakes there a couple of times. You mentioned about those, and again, like Pat's already alluded to there, that feels like something that straight away he's isolated the point. He knows what to go to, know what to work on, and then when we have got a game so quickly, you can put things into place very quickly. You can get over things. We're at the top of the Premier League still. You know, this isn't a defeat that's left us 8 points off top 4. We're still at the top of the Premier League without a ball being kicked at the moment. So it's certainly not a time to panic. But like Pat said, you love seeing the passion and the sort of the willingness to want to improve all the time from Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, he loves winning, and Chelsea loves winning. It's in our DNA. It's what we do. We want silverware. So yes, mistakes happen, but they need to be ironed out moving into the next game. And yeah, he's going to make sure that happens without a doubt.
Absolutely, Abby, fantastic as usual. Pat, brilliant as always, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. Not the result that Chelsea wanted to start the weekend off, but that's football. That happens. We go again on Wednesday evening against Zenit St Petersburg. Good luck tomorrow afternoon as well to the Chelsea women in the FA Cup final. Come on, you Blues. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.